All right, and we are live with the NLL show. We've got BSing the NLL and this week in the NLL with Rodney Redeye and myself. Thanks again for joining me.
Oh, I love this. This is the highlight of my week. Every Friday, talk about lacrosse, and this past week we had a whole slate of games.
Yeah, I think we were talking earlier. Everybody played this week. It's pretty crazy. It was wow. I mean, and wow, some of these games were really we're starting to find out who's who, getting the pregame jitters out, and you got to wonder, is Vancouver ever going to show up this year?
I don't know. I doubt it now. I mean, 14-5 to Calgary, and Calgary has been struggling. And Vancouver last 2 weeks ago showed signs of being a good team, and then they just go and shit the bed basically. So
Yeah,
5 goals.
yeah, it's a very interesting game, and yeah, I'm telling you, it's just crazy. Unless Vancouver starts finding a way to get on the board, I mean, you look at their leading goal scorer here on the game leaders from the NLL website, and you've got Adam Charlambides being the leading goal scorer with one goal. You cannot have your leading goal scorer in the NLL have one goal.
No, you got Mitch Jones and Keegan Ball. I mean, those two are they score goals. Like when Mitch Jones was at Buffalo, that's he was a top lefty over there. And then Keegan Ball's a nasty righty, and they're scoring goals, but not enough. I mean, they got 3 goal scorers. That's it. And then in that game against Calgary, they look like a midget team, really. Like there was no chemistry at all.
Yeah, I mean, and even if you start looking through the shots on goal, I mean, it was just they've got a couple guys that got close to 10, but it's just you had Logan Schuss who shot 8, and you had Adam Charlambides who shot 8 with no goals, and they both had no goals, and you can't have the two guys on your team that are leading in shots getting 0 goals on 8 attempts. That's a
Yeah,
terrible percentage.
yeah. Keegan Ball had 3 points. Really, that's it. Like, I mean, come on. It was it. That was a bad game for him.
I mean, props to
Again,
Christian Del Bianco for yeah, I mean he is a great goalie, and I don't mean to take anything away from him by saying that they needed to score more, but I mean, yeah, you could not. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they play next week too, to see if Calgary is this good now that they're kind of bouncing back, or
yeah.
is Vancouver this bad?
Well, like I think Vancouver's that bad. I really do think that. And Calgary, look at Tyler Pace. He had 7 points, and he's not their go-to guy. Jesse King, their captain, he had 5. I mean, they shared the wealth that game. It was Calgary passed the ball around and got the right shots when they needed it. And like you said, Del Bianco, oh, he made some sick saves in that game too.
Yeah,
I mean that can put any team right in a hole. I mean, if someone stuffed me in a crease like he did, I can't remember who he stuffed. That should have been a goal. He stuffed him. I mean, I would have been like, all right, this game's over. I'm never shooting again. you know.
yeah, yeah. It's like I said, he played phenomenal, and it's really next week we'll be interested to see who if it's really he's playing that good, or if Vancouver was just kind of making him look good with their attempts. Which leads us to our next game, which was only about a quarter of a game. We had the Panther City Lacrosse Club versus the Vegas Desert Dogs, and I tell you that Vegas, I don't know what happened. They came out with a bunch of energy for the first couple minutes, and then it was just like, boom. I don't know if they like shot their load too fast, and it was just like an adrenaline dump because their inaugural game, it was cool. They had so much
Yeah,
attendance. The viewing on TV was great. It's unfortunate with the numbers we had that it was that performance. I think both teams would admit that was not their best performance. I mean, Panther City played definitely better, but I mean they didn't get a goal in the third quarter.
yeah. Like I will say that Las Vegas, they had their barn was packed. They had their PR guy did a great job. I mean, it's Wayne Gretzky and Joe Tsai and all of them. I mean, they know what they're doing. They got that place packed, but up till the fourth period, I mean, it was what 3-3 in the third period at one point, and Panther City just took like Malcolm took off. The defensive, what I think it was Tony Malcolm, his name is.
Yeah.
He went off for a game. I mean, his transition was ridiculous, and for some reason, I think Las Vegas, their
Will
goalie,
Will Malcolm, that's
he's
Tony's brother. They are brothers, but Will
yeah,
Will
yeah,
had
well,
4 points. Will had the
yeah,
3 assists, the goal. Tony had 2 goals. Tony was a
Tony,
Firewolf last year, and
yep.
he was an amazing. Actually forgot his name when I was talking to Mike Falvo, and I can't believe it now looking at it because he was more of a transition guy. But wow, he was one of those players that we're really missing, and he had a great game, 2 goals, and that's the thing. If you look at this Panther City team, I mean they played better just all around. They played great defense, and yeah, you really got to start to wonder what's going on with Vegas. The great, like you said, their
Well,
marketing and everything was amazing.
and Watson didn't start or didn't play that whole game for Las Vegas, the Desert Dogs, and I kind of think the goalie they played, he was good, but he let some easy shots in when I was watching, and I think those are goals that Watson would have saved. I don't know. Maybe it might have been too hyped up for him too. Adrenaline could have got to him, and then it just
I
fell
mean,
flat. And that's exactly what happened. It fell flat real fast.
yeah, and I mean that being said, I mean Watson played not good the first week either. He let in a
No,
few that
no,
he wanted back himself. So it'll be interesting to see what they kind of do going forward, how
yeah.
they attempt it. But I mean the shots leader for the Desert Dogs was Zach Gear with our Greer with 6 shots and not a goal, and just like nobody shooting, just the offense. Panther City's defense played really well, and not to take too much away from them, but again, you wonder was it an adrenaline dump or were the Desert Dogs that bad, or is Panther City that good?
Well, the thing, Panther City played a double hitter this past weekend. So, and they didn't do too bad. They played Colorado, and did
Yeah,
they do bad? No, they did. They played good against Colorado. So I think Panther City is their second year in the league. So I think they're got a little bit more gelling now. Whereas Las Vegas, you can't really say it's their first year in the league because a lot of those guys, it is not their first year in the league. So, like you said, I think they blew their load that fast, and it showed. Like that fourth quarter, they were going out there to fight, and it showed. There was a couple of fight. It was almost a bench brawl at the end there. So
yeah,
tempers got hot, and
yeah.
I just think Las Vegas just blew their load too fast.
Yeah, they definitely did. And when you look at that Colorado game, I mean, Panther City held them to 12 goals with that offense. That's pretty good. You look at the first quarter, they held that offense to 2 goals, and in the third, it was one, and that is impressive. And I mean, Zed Williams to be able to do that. Eli McLaughlin, I mean, he was your goals leader with 4, and then Zed had 5 assists. But to be able to keep those guys to that, it does show you that Panther City's defense really is that good. And the Desert Dogs probably just blew their load.
Yeah, like I said, Zed had a game. He had 8 points. Eli McLaughlin had 7, and then Dylan Ward had 48 saves on him. That's a lot of saves. I mean, that's too shy of 50. I mean, so Panther City was getting the shots off, and the rookie Donville for Panther City, he went off. He had 6 points. Then the Will Malcolm had 5. So they got the talent. I think they ran into a hot goaltender against Colorado.
Yeah, a hot goaltender. The
Yeah,
defense was playing pretty good. They were in sync.
yeah,
But like you said, he was stopping everything. Dylan Ward, he was playing. You could tell he didn't have a good week the week before, and he was playing like a
no.
man possessed, and he was not letting that
He
happen
he
again.
rebounded very well,
Yeah, he was
very well.
absolutely not letting that happen to him again. And like you said, when you look at it though, their shots on goal a little more spread out. They've got different guys shooting the ball, and they really,
Yeah,
yeah. Dylan Ward played a great game, and let's see how many saves did he have? Yeah, 48 saves. He
48 saves.
on all a lot of great shots, and that's good for Colorado because even when their offense is getting a little cold there in those 2 quarters, they were still able to count on Dylan Ward, and he really
Yeah,
stepped up there. And their defense, like you said, you keep him out, but he was playing like a man possessed. So
yeah, he really was. Like there was a lot of the shots were outside shots from Panther City. There were after I watched the game again, there was not many inside on the crease shots on him, and then the few that were, he was stuffing them. So he was in their head. So he's a big reason why Colorado rebounded and won again this week. So or won this week, I should say, because last week he didn't do so hot. But
No,
but I mean, it was a good game.
yeah, he didn't. But that kind of goes to show you too, though, when you have these trusted goalies who have established themselves,
Yeah.
they kind of get the benefit of the doubt and get to get back out there. And now you
Yep.
wonder with Joel Watson, is that gonna mess with his head? Goalies have a lot of rituals. It doesn't
Yes.
sometimes weird things fluster them, and you really got to wonder the confidence of Joel Watson going forward because he didn't get that confidence like Dylan Ward. Not that he's earned it, because Dylan Ward has obviously spent the time in the league and gotten it, but he gets to come back out the next game, plays like a man possessed, and you see the effects of it.
Yeah, that's the thing with Dylan Ward. He's a seasoned vet. If he has a bad game, you can put him out the next game, and you can almost guarantee he's gonna have a good game. Where Joe Watson, he's still young. Where if he has a bad game, it might hinder him for a couple games before he gets his confidence back up. So it's all meant. Where, like I said, Dylan Ward, his mental is better than Joe Watson's right now. But like Joe Watson, he's a good goalie. He's a very good goalie. I mean, he's dependable when he's on. He just had a bad game. I would have started him against Panther City just to get him back in that rhythm, get
I
his mindset right again.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised they didn't. And then you kind of got to,
Yeah,
the coach, you got to give him the benefit of the doubt because the other guy, yeah, he let in a couple soft goals, but you can't pull a goalie
yeah,
every time he lets in a soft goal because that's a terrible way to, then you're really messing with everybody's confidence. And you're pulling Joel off the bench cold. Not all goalies are built like that.
no. Some goalies are starters and some are
Yeah.
great backups.
Yeah.
And Joel's a starter.
It's a rare thing to see in a goalie, but you can pull some goalies in. Crosby's a great example of that with the Yeti. Like if he comes into a game, even if he didn't play the whole game, he'll come out and he's like a man possessed. He's out there
Yeah,
playing phenomenal.
yep.
Yeah, I've
He
seen
is.
him.
Like Crosby's a good example of that. Like he makes his first 2 or 3 saves, he's on point the rest of the game. He misses his first 2 or 3 saves, everything's going in. Beats are going in on him. You know that's how goalies are though. They're a different breed of humans.
Yeah, just to stand in
Yeah,
front of
very
that,
much.
you
Yeah,
gotta. All right, so let's get on to the Bandits and Rock game. That was a pretty good game, and Buffalo finally starting to find some of the pieces there, able to score 11, but nobody got that close to 20. The defense is playing pretty good, but more importantly, what's going on with the Rock offense?
they're depending too much on Schreiber. I think it's Schreiber and Mans, and then uh Corey Small had a good game. Dan Craig had a good game. And that's what you kind of want to happen when Schreiber and Mans ain't doing what they're supposed to do. You need to depend on those other two or your surrounding cast to jump up. But they were still feeding Schreiber the ball, trying to make him do too much from what I was seeing. And seeing with Zach Mans and Rose, it wasn't his best game for Toronto. Nick Rose, he's played a lot better. He let in a few easy goals, but then I think Toho his hit a little bit because Tokohoka got 3 quick goals on him, and they were nice.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, they were nice. And it was an all-out effort goal. That's kind of defeating for the goalie when you see him. The
Yeah,
defense forces him down. He's on his way down to the ground and somehow sneaks that shot in there. But Tahoka's a different breed of lacrosse player too. He really thrives in that heavy contact. Like I'm gonna get
yeah,
in, drive in, fight my way through this, and Buffalo's whole offense does that, like you said. And then I was just trying to look up. Yeah, Stephen Keogh, 2 penalty minutes, and
yeah.
what do they have? 6 shots on goal without a goal. No, not an assist.
Nothing. No.
Not his best night, not Rose's best night, and it showed. And the team really needs all those guys, like you said. They're counting on Schreiber to do it, but I mean, Jalen Rogers though, you can always count on him. He's got his 2 assists. Dan
Yeah,
Craig, 2 goals, 2 assists. They're really stepping up, and you just kind of need those couple extra guys. You can't rely on 2, 3 guys to do everything.
yeah. Like Rogers, his 2 assists. They need more out of him for that. He needs 3 goals, 2 assists. And then like I said, Rose had 40 saves, but Matty Vince he had 52 saves. So that's huge. I mean, he had 12 more saves than Nick Rose, so it shows he was on point. He let 2 or 3 easy ones in that he should have had, but
Yeah, but
I
that's a
don't know, like,
huge thing too because he did not play his best game against Albany. I'm sure he wanted a lot more of those back. At least
oh
against
yeah,
this game, yeah, he did let in a couple, but at least it didn't seem to. You could see Albany got under his skin though. He was getting angry. He wanted to fight towards the end of that game.
oh, like after the like halfway through the second, you could see he was mad against Albany. Like he's like, and that's a good thing. That's what you want to do against a goalie. You want to get under their skin as fast as you can, pump
It,
those goals in, and it makes it. When you get a goalie mad, everything seems like they're gonna go in.
yeah, and I mean Buffalo plays that way. They're aggressive
Yeah,
in your face. I mean Dane Smith is a monster when he runs down into people like full speed.
yeah,
Their whole offense is built big. I'm still I think they're really I'm not sure what happened why Connor Fields got traded if it was a financial thing, a locker room thing. But I mean, wow, has he been playing in man possessed? And but I still think that's what I mean. Buffalo, yes, we're talking about they won and they're starting to redeem themselves. But
yeah.
11 goals out of Buffalo against a struggling Nick Rose is not a good sign.
No, it's not. I mean, like Toronto's defense is you got mixed this new. I mean, you got Toronto's defense is a solid defense. All 10 of their defensemen are can play lacrosse, and Buffalo kind of had their way with them that game. And like I said, Dane had he had 6 points, and was it Kyle Buchanan? He had 6 points, and Buchanan's he's only 5'5", and he was lighting them up.
Yeah,
I mean, he wasn't getting laid out. He wasn't getting nothing. I mean, they're deep. I don't know. It was a good fast game, and it's just Buffalo, I guess, put their nose to the ground and grinding it out for the win.
yeah. No, like I said,
Yeah,
Buffalo did. I just would expect them to have had some more goals. I think their offense could prove to be a problem in the future, but they are Buffalo, and they all of a sudden
yeah,
click. You just get one or two more goals out of some of those guys. But I think the problem with a lot of these teams is when you rely on a guy having to get that 4 or 5 goals a night. There's some guys you need to get a hat trick, and that's expected.
yeah,
It's the way it is. It's almost expected out of your star players is they need a hat trick. But you also need that crew of surrounding guys to kind of step up and get that 1 or 2 goals a game. Your transition guys to make sure
yeah,
they get that, and that's where you see a lot of these games being won and lost, and it'll be
yeah.
interesting to
Like,
see.
like for Toronto, Latrell Harris, he usually get to a game. Nowhere, it's nothing.
Yeah,
Dan Dawson, again, he got shut out again. Like and watching the replays, he was on the crease a couple times and getting stuffed. Dan Dawson, yeah, good player, but I mean, maybe it's time to sit him down. You played almost 20 years in the league. Let another young guy come up that's hungry that can maybe get the goals that you're not getting.
yeah. I mean, if I'm looking at the stat sheet right now, and you see all of their points is centered around, a handful of guys, and you really need to get more of the team involved. Like you said, Latrell Harris, one loose ball pickup. That's it. That's why you didn't see him. He wasn't effective. He was not the Latrell Harris
No,
that you're used to seeing. He's
no,
one of my favorite players to watch in the
yeah,
NLL because when he's on, that style, that intensity, the way he plays, I love it. And there's nothing I think more exciting than when you see like him or Colton Watkinson or any one of those D guys that's more of a grinder and getting the ball when they go down and score or set a pick for your offense. And yeah, and if unless he starts to pick it up like you said, and then they kind of you know
yeah.
got to
Those guys are sparks,
yeah, and that's
and when they're not sparking, the team is flat. You know, I mean, it's Latrell Harris. Yeah, no, I will say you're expected to do more. Yeah, because
yeah,
you're one of the top D guys in the NLL and transition guys too. So I don't know. It just Toronto was just flat, I guess.
yeah. Toronto seemed flat, and the exact opposite of that. Let's move on to that Rochester Nighthawks and Albany Firewolves game, which I happen to be
Oh,
sitting right behind the. Yeah.
yeah,
I know. I tell you what,
yeah,
that Rochester team is 100% legit. That was an amazing game. Connor Fields
yes,
is on fire right now. Good luck stopping that man. He is playing like a man possessed. He has a chip on his shoulder from whatever the reason was Buffalo got rid of him, and he is making
Yep.
that Buffalo Bandits group look like they made a terrible decision getting rid of him.
He had 8 points. He had 4 goals, 4 assists.
Yeah, it's like wow.
Yeah.
It's just insane, and you really wonder, what could have happened that they got rid of him. But I mean, yeah, Connor Fields, and I tell you what, the first 2 quarters, Albany was up for it. I just think, they had
Yeah.
that bad third quarter for whatever reason. The Firewolves, they're kind of like the Yeti. They like to take like 5-10 minutes off of a game sometime. And
Well, that it was 14-13. Rochester won,
yes,
but in reality, that game should have been like a 6-5 game. I mean, that game was it had everything. It had defense, offense, transition, goalie play. I mean, that was a great game. Like even the faceoffs were. Oh, so how about Nardella's out for the year with an ACL tear?
and I tell
I
you
got to
what,
get to that.
that is That is huge. He was getting so many more defensive minutes this year already off the start.
Yes.
And even more important than that, I was talking to Mike Falvo about it yesterday. He wins the important faceoffs.
Yep.
Those need to win faceoff towards the end of the game when you need to get the ball because we need to get Dougie out of you know, and that's where I think he's going to be missed more than anything. And I'll get down to the faceoff stat because, yeah, that is,
But yeah, yeah. I mean, without Nardella, you're losing a bunch of possessions without that possibly. I've seen the Firewolves have nine players scored for the Firewolves, so that
yeah,
means everybody can score on that team, and with more possessions, that means more people are going to score this and that. So that if Nardella was playing, I think Albany would have won.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm in the same boat. I'm a huge
yeah,
Nardella fan to begin with. But yeah, those need to win faceoffs. I think we could have stopped the bleeding a little earlier in the third quarter,
yeah,
slowed it at least a little bit more. But I
yeah.
mean, wow, is Glenn Clark looking like the smartest man in lacrosse right now for that offense? You get rid
He
of
probably
you get rid of 3 goal scorers and then spread the ball around the team. I mean, your highest scorer, the top guy with goals, they've got Jerome Thompson there,
yeah.
Heine.
I know.
Yeah.
Had three
Oh
goals.
my
Yeah.
goodness. But even that, like, he plays amazing defense and they spread it so well. And that's what surprised me more than anything with Heine is the way he plays defense. Like when he gets stuck out there on the floor,
Yeah, he can play defense.
yeah, but between
He,
how hard he plays defense is, I mean,
yeah.
you don't see a lot of offensive guys, but that entire Firewolves team is committed to their systems. Uh,
Yes.
yeah,
I see them going far in the playoffs, and I mean, I think they're doing good. Like Dougie J he had 50 saves.
yeah,
That's huge. 50 saves. That's a lot of shots.
yeah. And when you consider the goals, you're like 50 shots. You would think the defense played terrible, but there was so much good defense in that game. And how about Hartley?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, the Firewolves don't shoot quite as much. They're going for those more high percentage shots and taking like,
Um, Hartley had 28 saves
yeah, but
compared to Dougie's 50.
right, but also Hartley had 28, probably 3 or 4 of them should have definitely been goals that he
Yeah.
somehow.
Just yeah.
I tell you, getting to watch him, I sat right behind him for the game, and he
Yeah.
is so much fun to watch. You want to talk about athleticism, and what really impresses me with the goalies, especially like Hartley, their little rituals. He is so zoned in during the game. Like what he does is so methodical. He does the exact same
Yeah.
thing every time. Goes over to the bench, puts his gloves here. Like it's so methodical. To watch him and Dougie was yeah, 28 saves like you said, but of those 28 saves, 4 to 5, I think you definitely could say 3, but 4 or 5 of them should have been goals. It was nuts.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, he's a very athletic. He's quick. He is. Well, he's a hockey goalie. It shows.
Yeah. And how about
And
Oh,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, how about Ryan Smith? He's been kind of passing the ball around more this year, but then all of a sudden he lights it up with 3 goals. He plays awesome in
Yeah.
Albany. He plays great in
Yeah.
Albany.
He came out of nowheres. All of
Yeah,
a sudden, he wants to play.
it's insane. I don't. Yeah, he's hot right now, and I think with him with his body size and Connor Fields, and if they continue to stay hot, it is gonna be almost impossible for anybody to. I think they're the number one team in the East right now, hands down.
Oh yeah, they're number one. I think power rankings. I think they were second
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with the power rankings, all,
power rankings.
but
No, but Curtis Knight had 5 points. The rookie Hanson, he had 4 assists. Hogarth had 4 points, but he was kind of slow. I mean, but then he had Scott for the Firewolves. He had 4 points. I mean, like you said, yeah, there were 9 players that scored for the Firewolves. I mean, that's a threat all around on the team. And if you let them all go off, they're gonna start bulldozing teams, especially with Dougie playing as good as he did.
oh yeah,
Yeah. I mean, they're on that cusp. They're right there. They're
yeah,
they're. I mean, it's only what the third, fourth game of the season. So once they find their rhythm, I think Albany might just run away with it because with the Bandits in Toronto, they're still teetering. I don't think the Bandits ain't the Bandits of last year. Rochester, Rochester's firing on all cylinders right now, but they could come to a halt. I mean, they had a hard time with Albany too. I mean, that wasn't a blowout by any means. It was a 1-2, 1-2 game the whole game. And that was a good game, and that came down to the last possession. So
and that's where I say Nardella. I think that's where he's going to be sorely
that's
missed. Is
yes,
I
yes,
was watching that game too, and when that I just as it, the watching the last couple, and it was like, oh, because like he just is so good in those clutch moments. But I mean, the Connor Kelly, the rookie, four assists, and just wow.
yeah.
And
Connor
now
Kelly,
he's
yep,
Team USA. They just announced. It's no surprise
yep.
there because he is
No,
yeah, and what is it? McCardle is the other one that made Team USA, and
yeah.
another
McCardle made it too.
wow, he is another one that just watching this year, and then you're like, oh my goodness, these guys are phenomenal. And Tanner Thompson, I think, is he was on the offense last year. I don't know how long he's been. I should actually look it up. How long he's been. I don't know if he came from New England or not, but he is such a pivotal part of the plays out there on offense. And he's really stepping up, I think, and being like that quarterback up there. And having Brett Manny and their having the defensive leadership and Dougie, like the big experience back there, kind of sets the tone for their offense. And I
Yeah,
think it shows. Like I said, I think defense wins championships. I'm agreeing with
always
you
does.
that
It
the
always does.
Firewolves are going to prevail over Rochester at the end, but I have to give it to Rochester for right now because they just beat us. But let's get on to this Georgia Swarm and Wings game. That was a good game.
That was a very good game. That's what you call a settle. Get the ball in the offense and settle it down and score a goal game. There were a few transition goals, but nothing out of ordinary. I mean, that was a 5-on-5 offense versus defense game. That was
Yeah,
a very good game.
yeah, it was crazy, and the way the Wings, come back in that fourth quarter with to come back for the lead. Wow. I mean, Blaze Reardon and now Joe Resiteris, and you look at him and you're like, there we go. He's starting to heat up. He's got 7 points. Andrew
Yeah,
Q, 7 points. So that's what's so
7
funny.
points.
The Firewolves got rid of these guys. They're
There's
still
two
scoring.
Albany guys right
Yeah,
there.
I know. And there was a
Yeah,
lot of questions about that. And I
yeah,
tell you, I think there's something with getting traded off the Firewolves that just makes you like an instant goal scorer because we'll get to Benesh in a couple minutes, but they're
yeah,
all
yeah.
playing great right now. Uh,
Yeah, so like Philly, Rez had 7, Q had 7, Blaze had 5 points, Rambo had a quiet 5 points, and so did Ben McIntosh. Like, I mean, their guys showed up to play finally.
Yeah, and that's what it was. The whole team showed up to play. It thankfully wasn't just the Blaze Reardon show that they've tried the
No,
last couple of
yeah,
weeks. And that being
yeah,
said, Georgia kind of shut down in the fourth quarter, and Lyle only had 2 goals, and that was your leading goal scorer. It's nice to see the team pass the ball around like that, but we were talking about it earlier. You need your
yeah,
goal scorer. If you're going to play with one of those guys, and that's how everybody knows it's going to go through, and you're running so much offense through them, he
yeah,
has to get 3 goals. Because I'm
and
sure he shot
that
a lot.
no, he really didn't shoot that much. After I watched the game, like there were a lot of shots. He
Nine,
was going to
yeah,
shoot and stop and pass it. I'm like, oh, last year, 2 years ago, he was farting those.
yeah,
So I don't know if he was told to or what. I mean, like Shane Jackson, he had a good game. Brendan Bomberry could have had a better game. But like I said, it was all Andrew. Andrew Q had a good game, and it was just um, there was a real like I would have to say I'm trying to get the words because I'm going back to like peanut like strategic game like
Yeah, it was.
U5 play 5-on-5 and just work the ball out. It was a good. If we want to teach somebody how to play 5-on-5 lacrosse, that was the game to do it.
Yeah, yeah, like you said,
Yeah,
a lot of the subtle offense you watch it move around, and really you just seen the wings. They had it's again, it's lacrosse is a game of runs, and when they got hot, you see it right there. They just
yeah,
boom, it went from Georgia, when they scored, all of a sudden it was 8-10, and then boom, it's 9, and they recovered 3 goals without an answer. We had, what do we have? One, two, three, four, five unanswered
five
goals,
five unanswered goals. Yeah,
and you can't have 5 unanswered goals in this league. The offenses are just way too
no,
talented.
yeah.
Everybody needs to get it. There needs to be a better balance than that. I mean,
But the
obviously,
thing is, Georgia could have won it right at the end there.
yeah,
Like Brendan Barry, Higgins came up with a big save at the end, and I think Bomberry rushed his shot a little bit, but he probably couldn't see how much time he had left. But right at the end there, they stripped Lyle. They wasted 5 seconds with him trying to get the ball back. So I mean, like I said, that was a complete game. I will say that would be my game of the week, Ken, right there easily,
yeah,
because it was a controlled game. Like it came down to who made the one mistake and exactly what happened.
yeah. And just like my game of the week, the Rochester and Albany one, because I was there especially. But
Yeah,
again, it comes down to those last couple possessions, and it's so funny in this game because, I mean, the fact that the Wings had a 5-0 run and still it came down to the last possession just to get caught up. So I mean, Georgia spent all that time building the lead, chipping away, doing all the things your coaches tells you is right, and then they have a 5-minute lapse, and then all of a sudden, boom. And I mean, wow, like
yeah,
like we were talking about though, you look at this wing stat sheet and they're spread very like
it's
all the
yeah,
points are spread through the offense.
yeah,
Yeah, everybody is just on the board. They're getting yeah
yeah.
re,
So both
re,
teams' offense is doing what they're supposed to do.
yeah. I mean,
Go there and score goals.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Resiteris took his normal 12 shots and he got 3 goals. So I mean, one out of every 4 shot, that's money if you're getting it. I
yeah,
mean,
that's
you'd
good.
like it a
Yeah,
little better,
yeah.
but obviously, 30%
I
are
take that.
oh heck yeah. And
Oh yeah,
and for him to dish it off, and I think a lot of the thing with his shots though is because he shoots so much, it really leads him to the assist because the goalie has to commit so much to him,
yes,
and I think he's underrated on that. And like, look at Matt Rambo this year. We haven't been talking about him, but he is quietly becoming an amazing playmaker, just dishing the ball off, being a quarterback on that offense.
yeah. Matt Rambo's used to getting the goals, and all of a sudden he's got tons of assists. So he changed his game. He learned to adapt this box game to be an assist man now. So that's a great thing for him. I mean,
Yeah,
like him and Blaze worked great on the left hand side, but he was feeding the righties a lot this game,
yeah.
and it showed.
And that's the thing. You're really seeing like the passing, the lacrosse IQ kind of coming through. I mean,
Yeah,
and like you said, Higgins 37 saves, a lot of great saves, and the most important thing is, oh, he made the ones that mattered. He made the final one to
yeah,
keep the game, a game winner. And ultimately, what it comes down to in this league is who can do it when you need to. I mean, every one-
exactly.
every one of these guys can do it. That's not a question. They
Yeah,
wouldn't be in this league without it. But I mean, yeah, they're really showing that they're stepping up. They're spreading the ball around great. And I tell you, this Wings team, but the problem with teams like this, though, is when you are counting on two, I say it all the time, if you're counting on 2 or 3 guys to have to score 3 goals a night, it's very rare in this league that you can keep that many
yeah.
guys that hot because somebody's gonna have an off night. It's
Oh yeah.
just the way it works.
And it was Lyle. Lyle, like he did have an off night. That's an off night for him,
That's what I mean.
and
And
it showed. Yeah,
and the off night for him, you need, and they just didn't have that other guy who stepped up for him, and that's what I'm talking about. When you're counting on
yeah.
guys to score, if you need 2 guys to get a hat trick a night, boy, good luck getting that every night because you can get it some nights, and
But
lots of
not
teams
every
have,
night.
right, lots of teams have proven it, but it's hard to maintain that kind of stamina. And we kind
Well,
of
I'll say right now with Georgia, I bet you they're kind of like kicking themselves in the ass getting rid of Randy.
Yeah, yeah. Which brings us to our next game because
Yep,
we talked about the Mammoth game already, so this will be the last game we talk about. But
yep.
wow, Halifax, and I mean they got 1 goal in the third quarter, so props to the Riptide for trying to mount the comeback. The defense stepped up, but wow,
The
Halifax,
the Thunderbirds laid it on them in that first.
The first two, yeah.
First first two period. Well, I was say the first period, but the first what it was 11-3 at halftime or something like
It was insane.
that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, they laid it on the Riptide, so the Riptide had no chance of coming back. That's what it was.
yeah. So it was
I
11 to,
mean,
11 to
yeah.
6 at halftime because the Riptide
Oh,
got a couple. But yeah, it was a wow. And you talk about, I mean, we talked about him a little bit earlier, but Suitcase Benny, he travels all over the league. But I tell you, every trade he seems like he's getting better. He is
with his
looking,
age, yeah.
yeah, he's looking phenomenal. He's such a smart player though. Like his stick makes up for his. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but wow, can
No,
he? My what the most impressive part to me when he was in Albany was watching him quarterback it and pass it around,
yeah,
and I think that's where he really shines. And so to have a game where if you have a game where he's that hot, I don't think you're going to beat him. I mean,
no.
nine
He had
points.
9 points. 9 points
So I mean,
for what is he 35 or something like that?
I don't know, but yeah, wow. That's all
He's
I
up
can
there.
say is again, there's another guy that Albany got rid of, and now he's falling under that umbrella where Albany traded you, so now you're gonna have a points leading year this year. But the
Yeah. From
he's
watching that game, he got his lacrosse smartness IQ is through. It's always been through the roof, but he's not as fast as like you said, but he got smarter with his feet and where to go.
yep,
Because Cody he set a pick for Jammer, and instead of cutting to the net, he like broke back a little bit and then cut, and it threw that defenseman off, and then he had a wide open shot right to the net, and that's something you can't get taught.
no, like you said, that's that lacrosse IQ, and just every year he gets a little smarter. But
Yeah,
let's talk about somebody who's kind of went the opposite way. Cody Jamison dropped some weight, he looks younger. I tell you, you watch him out here, and he is on fire. He had 5 assists, and with that offense, and when you don't need Cody Jamison to score 4 goals a game, the rest of the
yeah.
team's doing it. What an advantage that is. That entire team. I mean, in New York looked good. Jeff
No,
Teat.
they don't. He had 7 points.
Yeah, Riley O'Connor, another former
Riley
Albany.
another seven. Yep.
Well, he's
He
another
had
former
yeah.
Albany guy. Albany
Albany
got
guy.
rid of
Yep.
Riley O'Connor, and he's of course tearing it up.
Yeah.
But I what
But so when you go down to the Thunderbirds, you had Ben Ash had 9, Stats had 8, Jammer had 7. I mean, those three guys beat you right there alone. I mean, you got to have more than just two guys have 7 and 7. That's a, but like I said, like Jammer, he did a stutter step, like stutter step. He was stutter stepping guys again, where before he would just drop his shoulder and try to go high. He's stutter stepping and jabbing into the middle. I'm like, when I was watching the game, I was like, he hasn't done that in a few years. I was like, he's there's something about him this year. It's a little different about him.
it really is, and I tell you, he looks like a completely new, rejuvenated player.
Yes.
I think losing in the playoffs the way they did, how they came out so hot, and then it kind of fell apart. And I think a lot of the guys kind of took a long, hard look in the mirror, and they just knew, like physically, that team fell apart. So what'll be interesting is to see if they can sustain that. But I mean,
Yeah.
Austin Shanks, it kills me. Like this team won like this, and Austin Shanks didn't score a goal. Like he had 4 assists, but when
Yeah.
you don't need Austin Shanks to score a goal, what does that say about your offense? I mean,
That
Graham
means
Haas,
your offense is good. That's what it says.
it's yeah, it's absolutely insane. I mean
Yeah.
Stotts, wow. Wow, wow,
Yeah.
wow is all you can say. Watching him play, he's another one of these guys playing like he's got a chip on his shoulder, like, hey, okay, I'm gonna show you guys. You think that, yeah, and he is just out there like a completely new player. Now, I see they started Drew Hutchinson in this game.
Yeah, they started Hutchinson and then they stayed with Hutchins the whole game. He had what, 29 saves.
29 saves.
And if you're in a Riptide, you want him to at least have 40 saves. I mean, 29 saves. That's an easy night for a goalie.
And it
I mean,
I think the Riptide's problem is they try to run everything through that one or two guys. And when you've got, you know,
yeah,
14
they run it to
shots,
T.
yeah, and when you've got Jeff Teat shooting 14 shots a game, he only gets 2 goals. That's not good for your team. I mean, like Cody
No,
Jameson, 6 shots, 2 goals. that one just sticks to my head because I just saw it and I thought it was pretty impressive. But you watch it and you're
That's
like,
not bad.
it's unbelievable. And you look at their problem though, and it really is just a uh, they're running everything through Jeff Teat. I mean, he really
Yeah,
nobody else was even close. Connor Kiernan took 6 shots, and I mean, he got 3 goals. That's what you need. That's
yeah.
exactly what you need.
And
That great
they
game.
they they were trying to run it to Fox a little bit, but he's not. Jake Fox is not that the go-to guy in the offense. He's a third, fourth guy, and he'll get the dirty. He's the dirty goal guy.
He's gonna
And
yeah he's gonna get the ball out of
yeah,
the corner. He's gonna pick up
yep,
the spare change out front, bury it. He's a physical guy you can count on. Riley O'Connor, another one. 8 shots, 3 goals. That's what you want to see. And Riley O'Connor's playing great this year. He
yeah,
like
he is.
he whatever reason it didn't really click with him last year in Albany. I don't. He
Yeah,
he had spurts and sputters, and that's where you wonder is like on this team though, if any you just got to run it through somebody else. Jeff Teat cannot be taking that many shots and not scoring. And yes, I get why they give him the rock, but when you look at the score of this game, and I just realized Goa Abrams when I saw the picture. I was like, oh, okay, I got to see him before, but he, you know, not the not
well, Goa didn't even start the game for New York. They're I don't even know who they're. Orlerman started the
Orleman.
game. He only had 10 saves,
Yeah,
and then he pulled him, and then Goa had 26 saves. So there was only 36 total saves between both their goalies, and they got peppered. I mean,
well,
New York's defense got to get a little bit better. Help their goalies out.
but yeah, when you look at Orleman, I mean, he had 9 goals against with 10 saves, so that's almost every other shot. But yeah,
Yeah,
I will give you
that's
that
bad.
the style of shots, there is a huge difference in the way and what these teams have to do is you have to stop that ball movement. You can't expect your goalie to fly across and be able to get in the right position, know where
Yeah,
he's at in the angle immediately for the shot. These guys shoot too fast, and if your defense can't put the pressure on that offense to cause that hesitation to give your goalie that half a second to kind of like even force these guys to try something different.
yeah,
It looked like a clinic out there. If you wanted to see how you're supposed to run a offense, let's go. Just watch that Thunderbirds game and see
yeah.
how
That's exactly what it was.
they spread it
Because
around. Yeah,
like Goa, a lot of his when I was watching the game, he was on his knees a lot trying to slide across to make saves, and he was nowhere near him.
yeah.
And I was just kind of like, ugh. I was like, your coach should know, like, watch cross crease and watch the pass across, but they didn't. And I don't know. Halifax offense was just clicking on all cylinders that game,
Well,
and it was disgusting how good they looked.
it's clicking on all cylinders, and here's like the perfect example: Randy Stotts, your shot leader, 13 shots, 4 goals. That's 2 more goals than Teat had with I think it was one less shot.
One less shot, yeah,
Yeah, so it's you're looking at that kind of stat right there, and that's what it is because every shot really in this league, you're going to expect all these goalies to get 20, 30, or I'm sorry, closer to 30 saves a game. Like almost every
yeah,
goalie,
yeah,
even you can see go like Drew Hutchinson played for them, he had 30, which they should have more, but even goalie, you see he did not have his best game, but he still had 26 saves, so you can expect, you know,
yeah. If
about
he played the
30.
full game, he probably had about 35, maybe close to 40,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, I mean
No, but
but that says a lot about how much like the Riptide defense was just letting them move around because I don't care. Both of those goalies, they're in the NLL for a reason. So they're
yeah,
and even if they have an off night, the chance of them both having an off night, no, I think that's a bigger statement about New York's defense. Really, I think they need to figure.
well, if you watch the game, there's a few times I seen about 4 times the Halifax guys were coming right down the middle and getting a one-on-one shot, and Orlando was sitting there shaking his head like, "What are you guys doing?" I mean, as a goalie, that's gonna piss you off. Like, come on, these guys one-on-one, they're going to 9 or 10 times they're going to put it in. But I mean, he was disgusted. I could see that, and you do not let these type of caliber guys run right down the middle. I mean, you're professionals. You get out there, you grab your D guy, and you stay on him, not just let one guy. Like it was like the seat, the was it Red Sea parted wide open for some of the Halifax guys, and they ran right down to and even the Halifax guys looked like on the watching it, they look surprised. Like they're like, oh, okay. I guess I'll score. I mean, it was. I can see that. Yeah, that New York Riptides defense needs to get it together real quick.
Yeah, they better figure it out. And so now let's take a little time to kind of look forward to this week, which is a short week. I believe we only have the 3 games. Yes, we do. We've got
Yeah.
yeah, Halifax and Buffalo on the 30th, which I will actually be at the PBLA Binghamton Bombers game for their opener for that one. We're going to go celebrate with Neil and Ryan and all the
Hmm.
Yeti guys that made it. If you want to come, we're putting together a pretty good group of us. I think that's going out there, but you're more than
I
welcome to.
might have to show up.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. But that game I will definitely be watching on ESPN Plus because that game is going to be
Yep.
huge because now we're going to see can Buffalo score against that Halifax defense. I mean, Jake
And can
Withers,
Halifax score against Buffalo's defense?
that was the bigger one is I'm wondering
Yep.
is uh, because that is one of the things where Banesh really will make you silly if you don't know how to slide and move, and so that really suits him. Whereas the Buffalo team has got a little bit more, their defense is
Yeah.
definitely better than that New York team, and they've
Oh
got
yes.
Matty Vince in that, and if he plays like he did last week, every goalie's going to have one or two goals you want to let through, but other than that, he was on point. He stopped a lot
Yeah.
of he got the rock off of their game. And then we've got San Diego, Calgary. This will be a big one for Calgary because their last two against Vancouver, everybody's kind of going. Is Calgary moving in the right
Yeah.
direction, or is Vancouver just not that good? So shout
See
out.
what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm pretty excited for San Diego to see how they kind of come out of it. They had the bye. Or San Diego didn't play last week.
Yes, San Diego's the only one that had the bye week.
I was gonna say I know we missed somebody, so at least
Yeah, I know
yeah,
we met somebody. Yeah.
San Diego did not play last week, and they will.
Nope.
I think they're going to come out fired up and all over it. And then this is Saskatchewan didn't play either, and they are playing
Oh,
Panther
that's right,
City.
huh?
Yeah, so that was the
Yep.
the two bye teams, and they're
So
now
I
playing.
think Panther City's got that one.
I think Saskatchewan needs to figure out what their identity is going to be and start.
Exactly.
You can't count on Church every game to have 4 goals. He cannot be
No.
and he's a great player, and he will have those games throughout the year. But that team, they're some of their younger guys, some of their transition guys got to step up. You can't rely
Step
on,
up. Yep.
and then defense has to play a whole game. They're even
Yeah.
guilt. They were guilty of that. They ended the third quarter there. They just were like, oh wait, what happened? And
And
yeah,
I think Panther City's starting to come into their own, and this is the game that they're going to come into their own. This is a proving game for Panther City, and I think they're going to go in there with a chip on their shoulder and be like, "Oh, we're going to come here and we're going to beat you guys." So
this is a big game for those two. I think even I
yeah,
for the game of the week, I would have to say the most important for the two teams has got to be Panther City and Saskatchewan, because
yes,
after Saskatchewan had a little slide, Panther City is like you said, they either need to come into their own, and now are we going to start to see a resurgence of what Saskatchewan used to be? Are we going to continue to see this kind of gradual slide that Saskatchewan has been on? And I tell you, it's a shame too because you look up and down that offensive roster and you're like, man, they're all put together, but
they are.
they have not been able to get the whole team involved and
No,
try and you relying on a couple of guys to score all the goals, and it's just not.
and that's the thing with Saskatchewan. Like all the way from the goalie all the way to the offense. It's still nothing clicking there yet. They're still trying to find what's going to work, what's not. Like Bouquet, he's still not. He's not playing his greatest lacrosse. I mean, he's got pulled last game, and this like I said, this is the game of the week, and that one of these two teams is gonna find out who they really are.
Yeah, and I back to when they pulled Bouquet, I think that was more of a spark plug for the team because yeah, there was I'll give two of those goals, the one where he had no clue. But I mean, even that happened so fast. But I mean, really,
Yeah,
if you look at most of those other ones, it was kind of like we were talking about New York. If you let these other offensive pass the ball, I was always taught as a defenseman, your job is to isolate the shooter and make sure the goalie only has to worry about the shooter.
Yep.
Once that ball
Oh
gets
yeah.
over, now the goalie has to adjust. That's my fault that guy was left open. That's my fault the pass got through. And I still
Yep.
got to, that's kind of what I ascribe to. And I think Bouquet, I think he needs the defense to step up. I think it was a spark plug for the team. I don't know if it was necessarily the right one. I think maybe start sitting a couple guys or something. Not that they want to listen to this
Yeah.
at all, but
Yeah. Yeah.
the they kind of they got to figure something out though. This is a huge game for
Yeah, they
this
definitely do.
for these two, and I mean, you know, right now Saskatchewan's sitting 1-1,
Hmm.
and Panther City could be sitting at 500 next week if they lose because right now they're 2-1, and like you said, they're starting to come together. They're starting to find their identity. They lost, a very few pieces last year, and they're really starting to build that franchise team. And Jeremy Thompson was a huge piece of that, but you're starting to
Yes.
see on the defense, the guys are stepping up. They're starting to but again, was that a case of Las Vegas didn't play great, or is Panther City starting to get a resurgence? Or not a
And like,
resurgence, but a surgence.
well, I mean, like I said, Panther City played good against Colorado. They didn't back down. Like they got down, but they fought back. So and they used their talent and their offense and defense and goalie to get back into the game. I mean, they could have easily got blown out by Colorado.
Yeah, and and
So I think they're right. They're on that cusp where they just. I think if they win this game this weekend, it's going to take them over that cusp, and they're going to just start surging.
you saw it towards the end of last year, though. They were starting to really put the pieces
Yeah,
together, and it was just a little bit too late for them, and they couldn't quite,
they
finalize
almost
it.
made the playoff last year.
And that's what I mean. And it was just
Yeah,
they just went on a run at the end and they were starting to get it. And like I said, I think they're doing a great job with that organization. And I wouldn't be surprised, like you said, to see Panther City win here. And they could start to challenge the teams out in the West because
yes,
right now you're looking at your typical case of it looks like the East has a lot better teams going into it with everybody they've got, and you're really looking for San Diego's played good. Colorado's had some moments now, but at the beginning of the year it was like, what the heck happened, Colorado?
but even like San Diego, they still don't like they're all clicking on all cylinders either yet. Like all the West teams still looking like they're trying to find out what they're doing out there on the floor, like trying to find their positions. Like, oh, what are we doing here? Where the East teams they're clicking already. I
There's
mean,
I think there's something
but
to
it
be
could be a
said.
bad thing too, though.
Yeah, they might be clicking too early,
Too
but
early, yeah,
I think a lot could be said for like the Rochester style where they are basically, eight guys playing all summer. And those West teams, they don't have the same amount of they don't get to spend as much time. It's so much more expensive to get guys
no,
out there and to
yeah,
fly guys around. Vancouver didn't even have um a preseason or an exhibition game. And
no, they
that
didn't. Yeah,
and
that's
that's
right. They
terrible
showed.
because you need to see you need to get that emotion out. You need to kind of get that fast pace because you play differently against your teammates. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, when you play in practice to a game, it's totally different. And then they had 1 weekend of practice, and they're playing a game, Vancouver, and it's starting to show now.
Yeah,
They don't. It almost looks like they don't trust to pass to the next guy. Almost.
yeah, they still don't have the confidence in each other,
No.
and
Yeah.
this is really going to be a testament to that coaching staff. Can they pull that team together at the right time towards as we move forward? You can get away with a
Yeah.
couple of games skid at the beginning of the year. This is the time of year to have that skid. Or is it going to implode? They're going to destroy themselves. So you get the cancers in the locker room. Guys start doing
Yeah.
it's dangerous too because they've got a fairly young team in a lot of spots, and you really
Yeah.
you'd
They
hate
do.
you'd hate to see those young kids not progress the right way because that's just sometimes you get on a losing team and it's just like the bad news bears. Everything just kind of starts snowballing out of control, and
Yeah, like the veterans could get mad at the rookies, and then the rookies get mad at the veterans. Be like, you ain't passing the ball. Then the rookie or the veteran would be like, well, I ain't passing because you're not doing your job, and then it just explodes from there. The bad locker room, like you said, and they need to fix that, nip that in the butt real quick, and they need to they need to figure something out within the next 2 weeks, really.
they got to
Yeah,
yeah, they got the
yeah,
bye
and get it
week, and
together.
it's like you better figure it out
Yeah.
definitely over the holiday season and come back with a little bit more. So
Hmm.
well, we've been 55 minutes on our half-hour show this week, so
That's all right. It's lacrosse.
I know this is so much fun.
Yeah.
As always,
Oh, I love it.
it's been amazing, and maybe we'll see you on the 30th. But so, oh wait, is the 30th Friday? It is next Friday too. So we're gonna have to adjust the time of the show. We'll have to
So
tell our
yeah,
two fans to stay posted to social media. We might do an early morning
exactly.
or a Thursday show. And
I'm free all day Friday and night, so
awesome. So all right, that's all for this week on BSing the week in the
yep,
NLL with Rodney, Redeye, and me. Thanks so much for
yep.
watching.
Just keep watching NLL. It's the medicine game.